3 seconds later, the girl on the stairs would tumble down of her own accord. Through a clumsy performance, she intended to frame her biological elder sister, who had just returned home. It was a plan riddled with flaws, yet within the Su household, it would play out flawlessly. At the dinner table, a domestic farce was unfolding. The spotlight fell upon the adopted daughter, Su Zhiyi, as her family cheered over her projected university entrance exam results. Meanwhile, the neglected one was the biological daughter, Lin Siwang, recently retrieved from the college entrance exam powerhouse province of Shanhei. She wore headphones, erecting a physical barrier against all the grading praise and disparagement. To her, this so-called family was merely a marketplace for transactions. Her objective was clear: endure temporarily to secure a priceless Beijing household registration. A few barbed remarks in her estimation were a highly cost-effective expense in this transaction. Upon returning to her room, her father called her over and handed her a gold bracelet, a replica identical in design and weight to Su Zhiyi's. Lin Siwang understood this gift was not intended solely for her. Immediately after, her father informed her that the family reunion banquet would be postponed, and the matter of reverting to the Su surname would also have to wait. The man scrutinized her expression, anticipating disappointment, anger, even tears. Instead, he received a question delivered with extreme composure. "Has my household registration been transferred to Beijing?" Upon receiving an affirmative reply, the girl turned and walked away, as if the family's recognition mattered far less than a single piece of registration paper. The man stood rooted to the spot, unable to comprehend why this long-lost daughter felt such indifference towards family ties. Back in her room, Lin Siwang finally allowed herself a smile. With her household registration secured, the top universities of Beijing seemed to beckoning her. She received a call from an old classmate in Shanhei province. Their genuine concern briefly allowed her to shed her facade. A pang of hurt surfaced, but she swiftly suppressed it. She had no need for the Su family's hollow affection. She had known far more fervent friendships. She readjusted her mindset. Within these opulent walls, academic prowess was her sole weapon. Meanwhile, a new tempest brewed at school. Her Beijing peers regarded this transfer student from Shanhei province with equal parts curiosity and disdain. They dismissed her as a bookworm, a typical small-town exam nerd. As mock exam results neared release, they surrounded Lin Siwang, teasingly probing her score. Lin Siwang calmly gave her estimate, over 690 points. If she'd lucked out with the final question, even 700 plus was within reach. The classroom erupted in uproarious laughter. They believed this country girl had been driven mad by exam pressure. Soon, a crowd gathered before the results notice board. Lin Siwang's name stood out prominently at the top. Total score, 719. This figure detonated like a bombshell, instantly rocking the entire year group. She had outscored the top student in the advanced class by a full 40 points. Classmates who had mocked her moments before now wore frozen expressions, swiftly shifting into adulation mode. They swarmed around Lin Siwang, apologizing and fawning, as though paying homage to a newly descended deity. Lin Siwang's reaction remained serene. All this had been within her calculations. Meanwhile, Su Zhiyi also received the news, 719 points. Her own score was 541, barely scraping past the first-tier university cutoff. A fierce sense of crisis instantly ignited her nerves. She knew that once her family discovered Lin Siwang's true capabilities, the cherished advantage she'd built over 18 years would vanish. A ruthless plan crystallized in her mind. She cut off the congratulatory call from her form tutor, then, clutching her phone, spun an enormous lie to her mother who had just returned home. She claimed the call was from the headmaster congratulating her on exceeding expectations and clearing the first-tier university threshold. As for Lin Siwang, she explained, he was hiding in his room, distraught over his abysmal results. The Su family harbored no doubts. They promptly organized a celebratory dinner for Su Zhiyi's outstanding results. A designer handbag as reward, toasts from the entire household. All glory converged upon her alone. As they cheered Su Zhiyi, they spoke with disdain of Lin Siwang's failure. They were convinced that a country bumpkin's poor foundation meant falling behind was only natural. At the staircase turn, the pretense shattered completely. Su Zhiyi intercepted Lin Siwang, revealing her venomous true nature. She warned Lin Siwang to recognize her country bumpkin status and not dare to usurp her position. But she faced an opponent who defied all conventional logic. Lin Siwang showed no anger, merely offering a cold, brutal analysis of reality. She cut straight to the heart of the matter, pointing out that all Su Zhiyi possessed was the illusory verbal affection of her parents and brothers. Power, she declared, was the only solid foundation in this world. Su Zhiyi was struck to the core. Glancing at her family below, a more vicious thought crystallized instantly. She knew logic and evidence held no sway in this household. Emotional blackmail was the only currency. She shrieked at Lin Siwang, then threw herself backwards, tumbling down the stairs. Everything unfolded exactly as foretold. Her family rushed over, ignoring Lin Siwang frozen in place, straight towards the weeping Su Zhiyi. Accusations and curses poured forth like a tidal wave. Su Zhiyi lay on the floor, clutching her head, practically reciting the line about a concussion. Lin Siwang demanded to view the surveillance footage to prove her innocence, only to be told that corner was conveniently a blind spot. At that moment, Lin Siwang's suspicions were confirmed. She hadn't stumbled into a wealthy family's home at all, but into a melodramatic soap opera where logic had completely collapsed. In this script, she was the born evil villainess. But she didn't care, because in the script of her own life, these people were merely insignificant supporting characters, easily dismissed at any moment.